Guys, welcome back to the Stephen Sulley study. I'm going to talk to you right now about motivation. Motivation towards your goals and why you should act right now rather than waiting another day, another week, another month, another year, and leaving it on Someday Island, which Brian Tracy, if you haven't heard of him, I suggest you look him up, talks about Secrets of Self-Made Millionaires. He talks about people being on someday island, because it's someday I'll do this, someday I'll do that. The biggest motivation to get off your ass today and go and do something is time. Now I believe in I do believe in setting goals, and I also do believe that things, it's all about timing, but also the amount of people that fall into the New Year's resolution mindset, and they say, I'll put it off into the new year. And what happens is they put it off. They start attacking their goal, but then for some reason the challenge comes up and it puts them off. I believe that if you want to do something, rather than thinking about a New Year's resolution, start it today. That's what winners do. Bearing in mind, a lot of successful people, billionaires, millionaires, anyone who is self-made, they have an attitude of, I will do whatever it takes in order to achieve my goal. So that doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to now put it off until the new year and I'm going to start it then. They start immediately. So time, let's just stop and begin to imagine right now that you're going to live to 100 years of age. One of my goals is to live past 100, and I will get there. But let's just say we live until 100 years of age. Most people, if you're a male living in the UK, I think the average life expectancy is anywhere between 75 and 77 or 78 or something like that. I think it might be fairly similar for females, or maybe just slightly over. But let's just say those statistics are not ours. We're going to live until 100, okay? Your first 10 years, maybe even longer, maybe 15 or 20 years are devoted to being born, learning just to your first instincts of survival, and you're going to school, college, university, all that kind of stuff. I know there are self-made millionaires who are, around about 10 or 12 or even younger, but because they've started a YouTube channel and they started analysing toys, or I think like KSI has made a huge amount of money and given all his audience a lot of value by sharing what he shares on his YouTube channel. I know he's older, but the point I'm trying to make is you can be quite young and turn yourself into a business person and also turn yourself into a millionaire by setting up a YouTube channel. So let's say 10 years of your life out of that 100, 10% is devoted to you developing, and then at the age of 10, you then start working on a business. Most people don't. They wait until they're in their 20s, 30s, maybe even 40s. But let's just say you were one of the fortunate ones to start your business at 10 years of age. So 10 years is wiped off of your 100 years. Then they say a third of your life is down to sleeping. So let's just call that 30 years, okay? I know it's a bit more than that, but I'm just rounding it to 30. Let's call it 30 years. So that's 40 years, which had just been wiped off that 100 years, okay? One of the things I talk about as a routine of a champion in one of my other episodes is using time to your advantage. Billionaires, millionaires, people are very, very successful. One thing they all have in common, with the money aside, is they utilize their time in the most effective way. Some of that is not driven, probably utilizes the time in a very damaging way, because they're just wasting time and they are focusing on things which are not important, not urgent, and they have no real meaning to them. So the reason why I touch on this is because I usually, most days of the week, get up at 1 minute past 5 to get more hours at my 24. And I make sure I go to bed early, and I'm making sure I'm eating clean throughout the week, because then my body's not fighting any kind of foreign stuff in my body, any alcohol or toxic fake foods and things like that. So therefore, if I'm eating organically and clean, then therefore I don't need too much sleep, and I can get up, go to the gym and start attacking the day. So 30 years, let's just call that roughly. Then you've got 10 years of, being born and developing. Then if you look at traveling, now we're walking around, we're getting trains, we're getting planes, we're getting boats, we're getting cars. Let's just say that's another couple of years off your life. Then you got things like sick, then you got holidays and all that kind of stuff. You're probably talking about roughly 50, between 40 and 50 years, 50 or 55 years, which are wiped off that 100. So that only means you've only got half that time to be productive. If you've got an ambition to go and set up your own business, go and do it. If you've got an ambition to start a family, go and do it. If you've got ambition to start an investment portfolio, go to a different part of the world, get in the best shape you can possibly be, start a podcast, start reading a book, start writing a book, I don't know, anything. You need to go and do it, because I tell you what, Father Time does not wait for anybody. This is not a rehearsal. This is one shot. You've only got one chance at it. So you need to utilize the time in the most effective way possible, and then compound all your efforts to generate all the profits and all the yields later on, so you can live the best life that you possibly want to live. For me, when I'm feeling a lack of motivation, lack of inspiration, I then start thinking about time, thinking that, you know what, in 10 years time, 20 years time, 30 years time, and am I going to look back and think, you know what, I wasted all those years, and that's something I can't get back. The thing in life, there's many opportunities where money can actually buy you a certain thing. You might lose something, and usually money is an effective way of purchasing that thing back. But I tell you what, with time, once it's wasted and once it's gone, it's gone. So you either invest in healthy amount of time and effort and energy into periods of your day, your week, your month and year, or you're wasting it. And if you're wasting it, I tell you what, that's going to eat you up at night at some point in your life, because you're going to know deep down that you completely wasted time, and you never got on and took action. So the whole point of this episode is to talk to you about motivation. If you've got goals, if you've got ambitions, if you've got certain specific things that you want to achieve, go and do it. And I tell you what, if you've got people around you which are telling you that it's impossible, you can't do it, or you're not from the right background, or you haven't got enough money, or you haven't got the right mindset, tell them to fuck off. And the reason why I'm quite strong about that is because no one in their right mind has any right to tell you that you can't achieve something. You very much can. I don't care who they are, whether they're school teachers, friends, so-called friends, even family members. You've got to make sure that you're getting the best out of your life. And if someone else can achieve something, so can you. Earlier today, I went for a walk with my son Mason. I had him pinned to my chest. I thought, how can I do a bit of exercise, but spend time with him, but also getting some fresh air and looking at some of my visions or some of my goals. Thankfully, I live next to an housing estate, which have got massive houses in there, 5 million, 10 million pound pads, which really, really get me excited. So I decided to pin him to my chest, went for over an hour long walk. So I was getting exercise, obviously spending time with him, getting some fresh air, even though we sleep most of the time. And I also walked past the house, which is on my vision board, which I put up onto my social media as well. And as I was walking past, I was doing incantation, telling Mason that this is the house, this is the home, should I say, that we're going to be living in at some point in the future. And I was looking at it, visualizing it, taking a photo with him, and I just kept on saying to myself, if that person, no matter who they are, they're human at the end of the day. And if one human can do something, so can I, within reason. And going back to the principle of this podcast or this episode is that person can do it. They must have worked very hard. They must have been ambitious. They must have been excited. They must have energy, enthusiasm. Must have had a system. They must have compounded their efforts and, most importantly, utilized their time effectively. And that was a reminder. So they also must have gone through challenges and still probably go through current challenges today, because it's part and parcel of achieving goals and becoming a success. So again, if someone else can do something, so can you. And no one has any rights to tell you that you can't achieve something. If they're in your space, cut them out and start taking action today, because time is not going to wait for you. You're either going to move with it or you're going to become extinct like the dinosaurs did, because they didn't evolve. My name is Stephen Sulley. Please follow me on Instagram, sully.stephen. Absolute pleasure sharing some of this stuff. I hope you're getting value. If you have, please recommend me to friends and family. Be happy, never content. Thank you very much.